helping your opponent. You fool. Even though you want to win this battle, now which one of us is screwing around? I wanted to. I'll be a hero.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy Nerdime here with another figure review. Today we're looking at the Figma number 476. Damn, that's a lot. For the My Hero Academia Shoto Todoroki. This figure review is in the makings. I remember one of my earlier reviews I've only done like a couple of videos, but in general, when I first started, I did bring up the, what is it, the McFarlane Shoto Todoroki that had the weird bendy ab crunch. I'll put some images up so you can see what I'm talking about. But this Figma, you know, they're usually pretty cool with doing anime related figures. I'm usually not a fan of anything outside of that style that they do, like their Jackie Chan is a disaster. Some of their basic, they do like Greek art and stuff, which is pretty cool. They do like the thinker and everything. Those come out pretty cool, but anything anime related, they usually get spot on, which is insane. But the figure itself, it's not perfect. I do have some issues with it, but I think the longer I've had it, the more time I've gotten to kind of play around with it, it's actually kind of growing on me. Again, some of those problems, you know, it is what it is, but it's not that bad of a figure. Before we jump into things, let's take a look at the box that he comes with. It's pretty funny because it's like a short box, like it barely fits in frame, which is probably a bad reference, but it's kind of short. I mean, he's not included with a crap ton of stuff. There's the side, the back. I love how they do these images on the back. Figma usually kills it with this kind of stuff. Here, let me see if I can get us to focus. But yeah, and then here's the other side. Front again, upside down, yeah. But yeah, so let's get into it. So taking a closer look, and the detail on this guy is top notch. Like I mentioned, Figma usually kills it when it comes to making like an anime comparison of a figure. I think probably the best one I've owned so far from Figma would be the Figma Mikasa from Attack on Titan. It's definitely one of the figures I regret. I'm probably gonna do a video on something like that, on figures that I've gotten rid of, sold, you know, since I started collecting figures, and which ones I've kind of regretted, because there's definitely a couple that, you know, if I ever get the chance to scoop them up again, I probably won't let them go again. But yeah, I love this guy. He's anime accurate. It's pretty dope. Now I'm super interested on picking up the McFarlane Shoto, just to see if the effect part that he has of the ice hand, if it's compatible with this one, because that would be pretty awesome to have. Just to get straight down to my gripes with the figure, like I mentioned, everything else is pretty dope. A little nitpick that I have is that I'm not a fan of how Figma is using the first looks of these of the characters' costumes, their hero costumes. If you're familiar with the show, it evolves kind of as the season goes on. You know, they get better and better with their costume and their quirks and integrating the both. But I mean, I guess his doesn't really change too much for where they're at now in the anime or the manga or whatever. But you know, at the end of the day, I guess they're kids, so I really shouldn't complain too much, because that's what they're supposed to look like. But like, if he was a little taller, this figure is like extremely small, is probably what my problem is. I have the McFarlane stain, and I'll do some comparison heights later on, so you can just see, you know, in front of some figures, you know, he looks like a tiny mouse. But my second gripe would be the crotch piece. This floating crotch piece is a nuisance. I'm not a fan of things like this at all. You know, in some positions it just dips, and then other positions it's like a huge gap. Like, that's wild. I can almost fit my whole finger, my whole pinky finger in there. Like, what? Like, we couldn't think of something else. Like, it looks like he's a JoJo's figure. Well, that's kind of cool. But on the standard pose, it's really not that bad. It's once you start posing him that it doesn't really do much here to help you. But outside of that, I mean, again, it's a great figure. If you're familiar with Figma, his head piece changes out just like most Figmas. The articulation is pretty great all the way out. I love how their joints are. I know some people give them flack because it doesn't really look like a real knee. You know, it's just a shiny piece of plastic. But I really don't mind it. To be honest, in my opinion, I think it's pretty seamless. But the ab crunch is pretty good. Like, what more could you need in that kind of situation? Elbows. I will say I do have a lot of problems with these joints and how they peg in. This arm pops up all the time for me, and it's kind of a pain to get back in. But I guess once you get that snap in there, there's really nothing to worry about. The elbow crunch isn't too bad. Plenty of motion with this figure, which is really what you need in this kind of action figure. So yeah, let's take a look at the accessories that are included. Okay, so once you get that pegged off, you can go ahead and put this arm on. It's right in there at an angle. And so like I mentioned, the arm fits right in there. So nice and easy, it fits great. And then as far as the ice effect, there's no real plug and play here. It's just hits matte on the ground. Which again, it looks great, but you know, I kind of wish there was another one included, and it kind of just steps on it. But again, the detail is pretty great. We have a bunch of alternate hands and then a bunch of alternate faces. Okay, let's see. So we have this one, which I think came out really great. And then another gripe I have is Figma is notorious for doing this. Makes no sense to me, but there's this face, and then there's also this face. Are you catching the difference? Because I'm not. It looks like this one might be slightly just like a relaxed face, a neutral face. And then this one is kind of more smiling, I guess. Or this one is the mute face. I really don't know. They look exactly the same. So yeah, I do have a problem with that. You know, literally out of all the facial expressions, you probably could have included one more instead of giving us a double of the plain face, but whatever. It is cool though that the eyes are painted kind of different colors too, just like the actual figure. So, and because it is a Figma, it's included with the Figma stand, which is pretty nice. I like how they have like a frosted kind of look to the stand. These are usually pretty sturdy. I never really have a problem with the Figma stand, to be honest. They are kind of small, but I mean, outside of that, still quality. You also get a alternate arm tree. So all the alternate hands can plug into this one. One of these did break off on me, so that's kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. Also included is a Figma bag, so you can throw all your goodies in there, and also included is an alternate wrist joint. So yeah, let's get into height comparisons. Alright, so getting into height comparisons, this is him compared to the Marvel Legends Superior Octopus. And I mean, it is what it is. Like I mentioned, I hate that they're still kids. So the scale is always going to be small no matter what you compare it to. The bright side, though, is that he is in scale with the the Amazing Yamaguchi, the Revoltech Izuku Midoriya, which is pretty dope. So you could literally have these guys standing next to each other, and you probably wouldn't even know they're from two different figure lines. Let me see if I can get this guy to stand up. Come on, dude, get it together. Just kidding. But yeah, not the best pose for Izuku, but either way, they are in scale, which is pretty cool. Izuku is a little more built, a little more stockier than Shoto is, but like I mentioned again, Figma is sticking more towards like their first costume look, you know, as opposed to Izuku from the Amazing Yamaguchi line. It's pretty much accurate to what we have currently in the anime / manga. And then here is Shoto compared to the McFarlane Stain. So again, this is what I was talking about or referring to when I said that he kind of dwarfs in comparison to kind of larger figures. But again, I guess that's the novelty to it because they're kids. So, I mean, they're supposed to look small in front of everyone. So I guess that's in scale, kind of. You know, preferably if he was a little more taller, I would have maybe less of an issue with. Like with the Izuku, I feel like, I don't know, the proportions are maybe a little better because he is a little more bulkier. Let's see if we can get these to stand. But yeah, either way, still a dope figure. The scaling, it's not gonna bother you too much, especially if he's in a pose and stuff, but just so you're aware. But yeah, all in all, he's a pretty cool figure. To be honest, this Figma Shoto Todoroki is probably the best 6-inch figure that we have of the characters so far. Like I mentioned again, this is making me pretty curious about picking up the McFarlane Shoto, just to see how they stack up against each other. You know, they're both super similar, but completely different, which is wild. But yeah, if you're curious, pick them up. I'll link below where you can go in, get this figure at, and follow my IG so you can have some, take a look at the behind the set photos and a sneak peek of the figure reviews to come. And definitely comment below if you guys have any suggestions on what I should pick up or do a review on next. And yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Peace, guys.